Before I get into our guests, I do have my brother Sal, which I don't have a name for yet.
Most handsome guy in the room.
No. You're at least a third.
Third.
Yeah, third most handsome guy.
Listen, the third guy in the baseball lineup usually makes the most money. You know what I'm saying? It's a good spot to hit in.
This ain't baseball. All right. We got DJ.
Yeah.
DJ.
What'd you call me earlier? Thumbs?
Daddy Thumbs.
Daddy Thumbs.
Daddy Thumbs in his workout.
I like that.
Yeah. I bet you do.
I'll take it.
Yeah. You fucking earned it. That's for sure. Fuck, dude. And then, guys, we have a very special guest, Dr. Russell Swarovski, who is the only triple board certified neurologist in the U.S. He's also the leading authority on mental health and most notably addiction medicine. He trains doctors from all over the country in addiction medicine, and he's the medical director for Bridge Back to Life. And Bridge Back to Life has multiple addiction treatment centers all across the state of New York. He's also been very vocal this year along the lines of what we've talked about in regards to the science. And the reason that I sought him out and invited him on this show is because you've been one of the guys I've been following all year that's been promoting the real data. And every time we talk about the data here on the show regarding, COVID or the lockdowns or masks, which the mask thing is a huge thing for me, we get a lot of people understandably saying, well, you're not a doctor, and that's fine. I could take that because I'm not a doctor. I do read data for a living. That's what I fucking do. We manufacture products that are essentially the same as pharmaceuticals. So I know how to read data, but since you guys don't fucking get that and you don't appreciate my understanding, I brought in a real expert. So, dude, thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks so much for having me and inviting me, Andy. Big fan.
Thank you, bro. You've been super vocal this year, man, about what's going on. Let's just get into it, dude.
Sure. Well, I'm just going to be blunt and indirect because your listeners need to hear it. Everyone really deserves to hear the truth about this.
Yeah.
And, essentially, look, we were all lied to and it's still going on. And it's essentially, this was a power grab, a political power grab that was driven by political motivations, nothing having to do with people's health. And essentially, they took away everyone's liberty and freedoms because it was a power grab by politicians. And they used basically a lot of garbage, fake data, garbage in and then the garbage conclusions out, right? Because if you put bad data in there, you're going to not make the right conclusions. And they were using that to shape public policy, which we're still living under. And so, as a result, what you see is what you see going on. If you use common sense, you realize that when the WHO and, all these different organizations come out with new recommendations every day that contradict each other from the week prior, you realize that, wait, maybe something's going on here and maybe we don't need to be locked down and maybe, all the isolation, depression and increase in drug overdoses that is just, horrendous. Is this really worth it? I mean, does it really make sense? And when you dig a little deeper, which if you want to, we can. Certainly, you see it's not.
Right. Yeah, dude. I mean, one of the biggest things that I think you and I totally are going to see the same way is that the collateral damage of this whole entire, at first it was like, oh man, they're really making a lot of mistakes. And then when they continue to make the mistakes over and over and over again, it becomes very obvious to me that they're doing it on purpose and they're purposefully trying to confuse people and demoralize people so they just accept the power grab. And, when I first said this, man, it was literally in March 12th of 2020. I'm like, hey, look, dude, I wrote an email about it. I said, if you don't think this is fucking political, you guys are crazy. Here, and I went through just the limited data that was available then, the fact that there's been no precedent in my lifetime of during a pandemic of wearing masks and all this shit. And dude, I got fucking blasted by everybody, dude, they wouldn't do that. They would never do that. This is about health. This is about this. This is about that. And I think we're slowly seeing even the people who totally bought in start to kind of release their identity and their ego a little bit and say, fuck, dude, maybe I was wrong. I mean, what are you feeling like that's starting to happen a little bit?
I do. Yeah. And I think that the country's getting sick and tired of hearing about COVID every day and what they can't do. And the kids are still at home. And so the parents have to be at home. That's the number one issue right now in the country is the parents have to be home. They can't work. The kids are home. The kids are isolated. There's cases of child abuse skyrocketing because no one's picking up on it. Domestic abuse has skyrocketed. Drug overdoses. Trump declared the opiate addiction crisis in this country a national emergency. And at that time, there were 150 opiate overdose deaths per day. Now we're over 200 since the lockdowns. In terms of mental health, choose any condition, it's skyrocketed. Depression, anxiety, bipolar, so everything is off the charts. In fact, the drug Zoloft, which is a commonly prescribed antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication, is now on the FDA shortage drug list. That's how many people are going to their doctor saying, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. And it just speaks to the bigger thing here, which is that this is not about public health, never was. You don't shut gyms and keep liquor stores open and cannabis dispensaries open while you're shutting down healthy things like taking away people's way to earn a living. Shutting down gyms, shutting down AA meetings. A lot of people rely on those meetings. When you shut churches and temples down, they don't have that anymore. So it's been really brutal, especially to people who are more susceptible to things like mental health and addiction.
What would you say to someone who, let's say, okay, like one of these people that gets really mad at you and me, right? Like these people who when you say like, hey, dude, you're getting fooled, and they get really mad about it. I mean, what would you say to those people?
Well, I'll tell you how we got here.
Yeah.
The first thing was in the beginning, they were testing only people who were very sick. And so what they came out with phony statistics basically saying that, this has a fatality rate of 1 or 2 or 3%, right? That scared the hell out of people. Mm-hmm. And it allowed them to do the whole flatten the curve, 2 weeks nonsense.
Well, if you remember too, the data or the videos they were showing on TV, dude.
Body bag.
Fucking right. They were showing us videos of people in China literally walking down the street and fucking falling over dead. Like, it was scary, dude.
Yeah,
I was scared too.
Everybody was.
Yeah.
But everyone was, and it's understandable when you're pounded and barraged by the mainstream media's narrative that they want you to just force feed you. Mm-hmm. And so but then what happened was, the fatality was just nonsense. The percentage is nonsense. In fact, what we see now is that it's about what the flu is, 0.1%. Mm-hmm. And furthermore, in adolescents and kids, it's actually less problematic than getting the flu. So, kids are just so resilient to getting COVID, and even adults. In all the cases where you hear about these fatalities, first of all, 80+% of people who died with COVID, they had 2 to 3 medical comorbidities, serious ones, diabetes, mm-hmm. hypertension, high cholesterol, all the stuff of not being healthy, right? And they call it a COVID death, right? But that person had multiple other medical problems, and a lot of times they're labeling it that way because, the hospitals. How we got here, right? Another thing that happened was the government was paying the hospitals $20,000 to $30,000 for a bed if you had COVID or suspected COVID, which is a made-up term, which basically means you didn't test them, but you think they might have had it. So mm-hmm. they get $20,000 to $30,000 per patient extra if they even put suspected COVID. You think that when you don't set up incentives like that you're not going to get false data?
Right.
Come on.
Right.
So that was another part of the nonsense, non-accurate statistics. And then lastly, they used PCR testing. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that. Yeah. So you probably talked about it, but we've been hearing a lot about it now. But this actually broke months ago. Even the New York Times broke this story, believe it or not. And basically, they did a sampling of 3 different states, New York being one of them. And they basically found out, if we actually had some standards as to how we're doing this PCR testing, like they do for every other kind of test, 80 to 90% would be false positives.
Yeah, they said 97% of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
I mean how does that not have the most media coverage of anything?
And did you notice when they snuck it in? They snuck it in the day of inauguration. Yeah.
Yeah. And CNN, runs with these case counts. Well, that was their favorite thing to do. Yeah. Just scroll case counts. Not deaths and not deaths from COVID or hospitalizations. They love the case counts because it can only go up, and they had a narrative to drive home. Mm-hmm. And so you're basically scaring the heck out of people, keeping them at home, watching your channel. They sell advertising time. That's what they do, obviously. And so they basically just kept people locked down. And now here we are a year later, and we still have, states are opening up, and they got the president saying that it's like Neanderthal thinking. They're trying to open up the states, which is absurd.
Oh, he's saying that it's Neanderthal thinking.
Yeah, like the Texas governor just opened up the state, right? So Biden was saying that that's Neanderthal thinking. We shouldn't be.
That motherfucker's saying it's Neanderthal thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, dude.
He can't even spell Neanderthal.
In fairness, neither can I.
Yeah, right.
And neither can you.
Oh, no, I can spell it.
Yeah, because you're looking at it.
You got Google up. Yeah, dude. So let's layman terms this shit, which, guys, if you listen to the show, this sounds, I don't know, like deja vu. I mean, maybe somebody I don't know who, kind of told you this shit a fucking year ago, right? But what do we have here, dude? We've got fake tests that were purposely set up for false positives. We've got incentivized cases for the hospital, okay? We've got false data in regards to the comorbidity and the actual death rate, all right? We have a medication that actually treats it that they worked hard to suppress. We haven't even talked about that yet. We've got masks to demoralize and take away individuality and reduce the ability for you to even feel like a human, okay? I mean, dude, if you're not waking up to this yet, bro, you're gullible. Like you're going to lose in life because like it's either you're really dumb and you can't see the data, because even a basic intelligence level human should be able to understand this, what's going on at this point, in my opinion. Secondly, well, fuck, that doesn't really mean anything because I thought they should have understood it a year ago. Or you're tied into your ego so hard and your identity so hard that you can't admit you're wrong. And bro, that, you know, dude, I can tell you this. We went to Arizona this past weekend, all three of us actually. And, you know, they literally, as we were landing the plane, they opened up everything and took the masks out. Okay. So the whole weekend we were there, we went to dinner. We went to like, dude,
we died.
Huh? Oh yeah. We hiked Camelback. That fucking sucked, by the way, just so you know. I bitched the whole time. I did.
Is that news or is that's standard, isn't it?
It is standard. I will bitch the entire time, but what will happen? The job will get done.
Yep.
All right. And that's all that matters. But here's the thing. The one thing I noticed, you and I talked about this, was that the mask mandate got pulled like literally as we're landing the plane. Like I got a fucking alert on my phone. Okay. That night, probably 1 out of every 300 people was wearing a mask. So it shows you that like what it looks like when people are told it's okay. And that shows you that only 1 out of, and dude, that was, don't you agree? 1 out of every 300 or so people.
I think that's being conservative. Yeah.
It might've been 1 out of every 500 was still wearing a mask. And what it showed me was how many people will just abide by what the government tells them, even though they know it's bullshit. And so what's happened over the course of this year is they've also leveraged that. They've leveraged the idea that, you know, the social pressure of everybody's doing it. And if you don't, you want people to die, right? And the minute they say no more masks, everybody takes it off except 1 out of every 300 or to 500 people. So what does that tell me? That tells me that all of you motherfuckers out there doing this shit know this is bullshit, but you're going along with it. And you guys are the ones that are creating this whole scenario.
Giving them the power.
Yes. And dude, if everybody just said, dude, fuck this, we're not doing it anymore, what could they do?
Well, there's a bigger, more important point here, I think, in the big picture. And that is that this country has a health care problem and a health problem.
Yeah.
It's not a COVID problem. It's a health problem because you look at who gets sick and dies. It's people who have multiple comorbidities. The obesity is number one. And then, you know, we talked about hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol. You know, that's because the countries that had the least amount of those cases
were the healthiest.
Yeah, absolutely. They did not have the same statistics. So
that's
we have a healthcare problem. And when you mass vaccinations and isolation at home does not give you health. And that's the problem. It's all backwards. It's got to come from inside the health. You know, the exercise routines. What are you eating? What supplements are you taking? This is what protects you. This is what helps your body and your nervous system adapt to its environment and fight off things like this. So, but unfortunately, they got the whole country kind of locked at home saying, please give me my vaccine so I could get back my rights.
But even then, you can't even, you still got to wear a mask.
Well, they just changed that yesterday.
Now you can hang out together.
Oh, now we can hang out together.
Now you can hang out together.
It's absurd.
Well, I mean,
dude, here's what I think when I hear that. And I totally agree. We have a huge problem with that. Dude, you saw the Cosmopolitan cover where they showed the really overweight women saying this is healthy. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh fuck, dude. It was December. So they run a cover of these women that are all obese, okay? And like, dude, like I get it. If you're happy with the way you look and you're overweight, I'm cool with that, but you still ain't healthy, all right? And we all know that self-love on this show isn't about bubble baths and fucking bonbons and being a fat ass. It's about actually doing things that you're proud of, doing things that are good for you, and that's self-love, okay? I'm not going to get into that right now. But They put this cover out in the middle of this pandemic when every single person that looks like that is super fucking at risk for this thing. Okay? That woman right there has 2.6 comorbidities, guaranteed. You can tell by looking at her. Disagree or agree? Okay. So we have this whole media machine pumping this shit while this other stuff is going on. And dude, what's really like dark to think about is that most people assume that they are just making mistakes. Oh, they're just confused, or they're doing this shit on purpose because they fucking hate you and they want your power, they want your money, they want your fucking life, and they want you to obey. And you guys who have trashed me all year are now seeing that I was right the entire fucking time. They hate you. They want you to fucking be sick. They want you to be dependent. The reason they closed the businesses, like I said in the past, was so that they create more government dependency. When you have more government dependency, you have more votes for these people who are currently in power, okay? Because they are the ones putting in these programs for the government to take care of people, right? The extra money, the socialistic policies, even the communist policies. This is how they bring it in. They destroy the fabric and the culture of health. They fear people into compliance, and then they take a shit. And dude, I've been trying to warn you guys for this whole year about this thing going on, but for some reason it's like you don't listen. And like, dude, I don't understand what that is. Like, what are we afraid of? Because I'm afraid of like not having any rights and not having any freedom. And you guys, and we have the people say, well, it's just a fucking mask. Don't quit being a bitch. Bro, when we get to a point where we got to have permission to breathe the air, are we really free? I mean,
I got a question for you, Doc. Like, who do you, in your professional medical expert opinion, right? Whose responsibility is it for my health? Is it mine, or is it the government, or is it the doctor? Is it?
It's always your responsibility.
But we've confused that so much, right? And the fact that, the gym, like Ian's gym up in New Jersey, can be closed down, but I can still drive through McDonald's drive-through. That's a problem.
Or you could still go buy a fifth of tequila or a fucking pound of weed.
Like, that's a problem. But we have this confusion that, no, you, Sal, you are responsible for my health. And that's not how it goes.
Well, and also, dude, they've created this narrative that healthy people can kill people by breathing.
Yeah.
Which isn't fucking true. Right?
No, but it worked.
Yeah, it did work. Yeah.
Doc, I got a question for you. Because I felt like,
if it burns, Sal is wrong.
No. Listen, it does feel like we were on a date Friday night in college. I mean, we didn't
normal to you.
We didn't get into any of your background or where are you from?
Oh, New York.
What part of New York?
Long Island.
Do you have kids?
No.
Married?
Yes.
So you live where on Long Island?
You give me the hard questions, huh?
Yeah.
Syosset.
So in the middle, I'm just curious because, New York was in pretty good lockdown.
Yeah. Thanks to our great governor and mayor.
What's your opinion on all the invasion of rights / Cuomo / like, what's your personal opinion as a New Yorker? Just because we see it, like we get fed from the media on the outside, right?
I love New York, bro. I'm scared to go there now. Like, I don't want to go there no more.
Well, I'm just more curious, like as a New Yorker, because we had a California, and I told the story in last week. We had a Californian last week, and this guy had not been to a restaurant in a year. And he hadn't been to in a year, man.
I mean, when you saw Nissan is getting recalled, and right. I think that most of those votes that they have over 1.5 million votes to recall his election, and I think that the major driving force for that is the fact that kids are not in school, because that affects the most families of anything else.
Right.
Because how are they supposed to work, be the teacher? By the way, everyone's still paying their public school tax.
That's right.
Their kids aren't going to school.
The teachers getting paid.
Teachers getting paid. The school unions are telling don't go to work. And it's just it's terrible. And what they did to New York is awful. I mean, the moving trucks leaving New York to go to Florida and other states down south. The news is always showing how many trucks are moving out. The property values have. When in New York, the property values go down. New York City, never. Now they are. And where I am in suburbia Long Island, they actually shot up because nobody wants to be in the city because they were doing all the stuff with just hating the cops. They were putting homeless people into hotels with other people. They were doing all kinds of things where people didn't want to be there anymore.
Long Island's got a much different political view than Manhattan, correct? I mean, just in
Yes.
general population?
Yeah, in general, it's about 50-50 this last election, but the city's overwhelmingly Democrat.
What do you think? I mean, just from the standpoint of like your neighbors, because like in Missouri, right? We're in Missouri where we flip cows and, we go out and have 400 acres. We all drive pickup trucks and wear cowboy boots, but you guys think less of us, right? We think you stuck up New Yorkers. No, but I'm just more curious, like, we have had a little bit of access to life. And so like our progression, we're a little bit more cowboy-esque in that sense. What do you think the transition is as this time goes on and as people kind of start pulling back the weeds, like what as a New Yorker, what's the thought process of your neighborhood?
It's almost like they made so many people in the country, drink the Kool-Aid, and so now, it's almost like they have to be debriefed, they have to be debriefed from what they were told. And that's not an easy pill for them to swallow. So it's almost like it's going to take time, I think, for most people to come around. The government got people so scared that there are many people who don't want the rights back. No, let me wear a mask and make everyone else wear a mask for all of eternity. I mean, that's narrative has made that happen because they were trying to strike the fear of God into everybody so that they would comply. And now we have a population that, despite the fact that we're reaching herd immunity, that place where you get where you can no longer have to wear masks and can hang out and go back to normal. We're almost there. It's probably going to be within a month. And I still think that regardless, there's going to be that cohort of people that just simply say, I'm not giving up a mask. And they're still going to be mad that you're not giving up yours. And but
I don't have a problem with people that want to wear a mask. I have a problem with people telling me to wear a fucking mask.
But they'll tell you, yours protects me.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't care. That's the thing. I don't care. You're predicating that belief that I give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about you. Okay? So like I did in the beginning.
Yeah,
but
we all
now
did.
I don't give a fuck about you because you're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay? So deal with it. Stay the fuck away from me. And the truth of the matter is, this is how it should have been the whole time. If you're fucking immune compromised, stay home. If you're old, stay home. If you're fucking scared, wear a mask or don't go out. That's how it should have been the whole time. That's how it would have been any other time. That's how it was in 2009. That's how it was in every other pandemic that we've had. And that's the fucking truth. And the difference between the pandemics we've had in the past and this pandemic is, guess what happened in 2009? We still had the motherfucking flu. And we still had all these other things that killed people. They didn't disappear. What do you think about that? I mean, that's a whole nother data pencil fuck that we haven't even talked about.
You don't have to even dig deep. You just go to CDC right now. Yeah. Anyone listening, and look at how many flu cases there are. The whole map is green. There's like 20 cases. I mean, some ridiculously low number.
That's because everybody's wearing a mask.
Okay, but that's a great unpack this because this is a great thing that most people won't take the time. And this is where we get called conspiracy theorists regularly, right? And I want to get into that conversation at some point in time.
Listen. There is a difference between identifying a conspiracy and being a conspiracy theorist.
No. But I want to unpack some of this because this is a Googleable. You can go to Google or go to cdc.org and you can look at this fact. So just unpack that and the odds of maybe there being less than 0.0003% flu versus any other year.
There's fucking less than that. It's zero.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm gonna tell you something else I think they purposely hide from the general public, which is the fact that we have viruses and bacteria. If you take Bio 101, you know that you have viruses and bacteria that live in part of your genome all over your body at all times. You're probably carrying flu germs right now on you, strep germs right now on you. It's just how life is. We live in harmony with bacteria and viruses. And so if I were to just swab your throat, I'd find things in there. It doesn't mean you're sick, okay? But so when they're swabbing everyone for their nostrils for COVID, right? And let's say you have a cold and you go to urgent care and they want to rule out that's not COVID, right? And they swab you. They can get a whole bunch of stuff back. And that's what I see on a lot of reports, which is COVID positive, rhinovirus positive, which is a source of common cold, okay? And then, or sometimes a third one, but they always go with it's COVID, even though it's 2 days of cold symptoms and it goes away. Any other time, they would just say you got a cold. But now let's add it to the case count tracker. You know what I mean?
And that's tied into the PCR testing too, right? The cycle rate on the PCR, they had the test. So I'm trying to explain this in like layman's terms, right? Guys, they had the test set at such a high level so that if they detected this bacteria that was, let's just say you had one fucking little bitty speck of it, they counted you as COVID positive when that's not enough to actually spread or get you sick. Correct or incorrect?
Absolutely correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Smart, bro. Fuck.
So,
I say you're pretty smart.
Who?
What are your thoughts on masks?
No, dude, that's just people don't understand that.
Well,
I'm just trying to explain it in regular terms.
I think what we're talking about right now is just common sense. It doesn't take a heck of a lot to find this information. You don't have to go digging into studies and have a degree in epidemiology to understand this stuff. I think it's really a stretch to say that any of this is. I wouldn't even want to call it controversial. I think it's common sense. And I to say that it's a conspiracy theory, that's not what this is at all.
Well, and I think this is where our frustration, because the truth is,
I think it is a conspiracy because doctors like you and other doctors who we've all watched, right? Ben Tapper, a lot of the other guys that we all watch have been super vocal and gotten trashed all year. The frontline doctors who went out and said, hey, hydroxychloroquine actually fucking works, guys. And what happened to them? They got fired. They got trashed. They got drugged through the mud. Did they get their shit? I mean, are they back now? Because now it's come to light that they were right the whole time. And how many deaths did Facebook and Google and the government cause by denying, and Fauci himself,
fact checking,
by denying that they could treat this shit with this something that was so common? You know, I mean, how many deaths happened because of that?
It's impossible because the data has been manipulated so much that we don't have. It's hard to get to the real actual data. But I think what you would see is that essentially that what the narrative was a complete falsehood.
Yeah.
That we all have to live in fear. We can't go outside, even if you're young and healthy. You can't go outside. I mean, we were at that point not long ago.
Yeah,
and they're keeping kids out of school. It's been awful. So. It just doesn't make any sense. The CDC changed their mind again, I think a couple of days ago, where they came out with new recommendations where it's okay. Now it's okay to be around family members or close friends if one of you if you have the vaccine.
Yeah.
So,
and they just said today or yesterday just came out, bro, that if you're a medically exempt, you could fly on an airplane without a mask.
Mm-hmm. Thanks to Biden.
Wait. Who fucking told you that a year ago? I did. I'm going to toot my own fucking horn until that horn breaks, bro. Because, dude, I told all you motherfuckers, and you motherfuckers made fun of me all year.
I sent that to Ian because it was really because they tried to
that just happened today, right?
It just happened, yeah. They tried to make it seem like Biden did this amazing thing. You can fly on an airplane. No, the ADA did that back in the law. 1990s.
Yeah, bro, that's been the law the whole time. You motherfuckers just too stupid to read it.
Yeah,
dude, if you tell people you're medically exempt, they can't do anything. They cannot do anything. It's against the law.
Yeah.
So I think one of the strengths that we have on the show is common sense, right? And I know sometimes it doesn't.
That's debatable.
Well, that's fair. But I would say, listen, nobody in here is highly intelligent. And the truth of the matter is our business is not like this superpower. It's taking common sense and figuring out how to make it work. And so I at least personally, I take a great deal of pride in, all right, let's just look at what's going on and didact that. And I think a big problem, because we don't have the street cred of MD or DO behind, we didn't go to Yale or, we're not Princeton educated, that we don't have the expertise.
We're from Missouri, bro. They think we're a bunch of.
Well, we flip cows.
Yeah.
But understanding that we don't have the expertise, but data's data. Like Andrew said, we look at data regularly. We can analyze a situation. It doesn't take rocket science. You don't need a degree to figure these things out. People have called us conspiracy theorists. And it's empowering to think about conspiracies. I'm curious, just when you look at mask, what's your personal opinion on mask?
Well, I can tell you my opinion, but it's also backed up with, there's been studies done now, at least a couple of them, which show that basically masks are ineffective as a whole. Not like a certain chunk of it's ineffective, the whole thing, the whole concept of it with the mask that most people are using, which is the disposable throwaway little masks. They don't protect against anything. It's really a stretch that they say, that it's helping you. No study has demonstrated that to date.
Okay. What about for the majority of people, right? They wear the throwaway mask. A lot of people wear a cloth mask. What are the dangers, or what is just a realization, the neck gaiter, right? You wear the same neck gaiter for 3 weeks, 5 weeks. You're breathing into the same hole 5,000 times. There's germs that, accumulate inside the mask, and they touch it. Then they adjust their mask up and down with their nose, and then they go touch everything. Where's the logic inside of that? Is there any?
No, there's no logic.
As a professional, as a doctor,
no. If you go to the market and you just study what people are doing, you see they were just walking contradictions. The way they touch certain things and don't do others. They make up this just a way that makes them feel comfortable, but it's all psychological anyway. It's just they're just scared and they don't know what to do. Can I touch the wagon? Can I not touch the wagon? Can I Do I have to wear gloves in the supermarket? I would say about half the people wear gloves in the supermarket. Where's that coming from? You can't touch the wagon. You're going to get that's not a real thing. We don't look, if all it did was take germs to jump on you to make you sick, we'd all be gone, right? Because this room is filled with germs. And a lot of people don't know that. They think everything's just sterile. And that if you have bacteria, you're sick, but that's not the case. So the best thing you could possibly do is just focus on being healthy. And that's how your body was made to adapt to its environment. And so that's the main thing. If you look at what is the number one thing that kills people, it's their other conditions, the comorbidities that they had. It was the number one risk factors, obesity. And then hypertension, diabetes. We all know that by now.
Which all come naturally with obesity, correct?
In fact, I think the most recent study said that only 6% of cases of COVID deaths were really just from COVID.
Yeah, that's right.
6%. That means 94%.
That's right. That means only 15,000 people. I mean, and dude, the rest of these, and people are like, what about the 500,000? Bro, those people died of heart attacks.
Yeah, of course.
They died of car accidents. They died of the flu.
No.
That doesn't exist.
If you look at all cause mortality before, like last year, same time to same date this time, it's the same thing.
That's right. Bro, we're sitting here like, yeah. Like,
but
I can see it on his fucking face.
But it's draining. Like, it's draining from our perspective because, you got to go out and, you're right. We don't have the degree. So it's, you're not qualified to speak on that, but it's kind of interesting because, you can look at it.
But
and
Chris Como on the fucking news, who's reading a teleprompter that's written by fucking George Soros, is qualified.
You're a conspiracy theorist.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, right.
Bro, here's a question. Hold on. I got a question. Legit question that I had while you were speaking. Would you, now, I don't know the data to back this up, or if there is data, or if it's just your educated opinion, but it would make sense to me to think that the people who have actually continued to live their life and continue to go about normal daily, and I'm talking about normal shit, putting gas in your car, you wash your hands when you wash them, and you do, your normal life. I would say those people are actually probably more healthy now than the people who've stayed in isolation and stayed away from fucking everything. Is there any validity to that or not really?
I think there's a lot of validity to it. There's not a study that shows it, but most physicians believe that to be true. Like when you go out and you get what's called like microdosed in the environment by bacteria and viruses, your immune system, that's how it learns how to fight better, right? When you stay huddled inside and sterilize you're just hurting yourself, and that's the problem is now everyone's so nervous that they want to stay home and not get it. And now when everyone's, now it's time to go back into the wild and they're scared, so it was a total wrong approach.
You probably read up a ton on the 1918 Spanish flu too, right?
Yes.
Is it true that like a big percentage of the people that actually died back then died from bacterial pneumonia from wearing the masks?
It's a theory, but I think it definitely it holds validity. I would think it would probably hold up if they were able to look at that. They didn't keep records like that.
Yeah.
So this is a study that just came out actually to that same question you guys just had. This is on the CDC website. So they actually did one of these studies. And they found out, I'm going to scroll down here to the conclusions real quick for you guys, that they tested masked and unmasked people, both healthy and people that were positive for COVID. So if you look here, these are people that never wore a mask, okay? And then these are people that always wore a mask. And the people that always wore a mask, 70.6% of them contracted COVID or some other illness in the environment, where people who never wore a mask we're only 3.9%.
This is the logic back to the grocery store. In my brain, just simply observing, right? You're around touching everything, touch everything in the store, touch gas pump, touch everything. If, COVID exists, you constantly touch your mask, touch your mask. Well, you're putting it into this environment and it's on your hand and you're putting it in front of your face. Then you hang your mask on your rearview mirror.
Yep.
Then you touch your mask.
Bro,
then it's in your hand.
I'll be real. I think that's a moot point anyway. I think this whole thing, and I'm not denying that COVID is not a real fucking thing, but this is an entire fuck job on the data. That's it. Okay?
Well,
we could talk about, the masks and this and that and this and this. But dude, it really is an irrelevant conversation because the fucking flu doesn't exist right now. And we know that's bullshit. Okay? They've taken what would be a normal death cycle per year and called it something else and panicked the entire country for the reason of what you said in the first 30 seconds of the show, which is a political power grab, which is what I said I said this in fucking December 2019, I told you guys this was coming. They were going to try to do something to crash the fucking economy to get Trump out because they don't fucking like him because he's not one of them. And you guys all think, oh, well, you're just a Trump dick sucker. No, I'm not, dude. I'm just telling you what I see. You know, like, dude, it's there, man. And like, and we have this issue now where we've empowered people who have never had responsibility or power in their life to regulate you, right? Like we just talked about, and this is a whole nother topic I'm about to get on. I was having dinner with Aaron Wagner the other night, and we were talking about business because we're business guys. And all these big companies, the Targets, the Walmarts, the this, the that, and a lot of these little companies have empowered their lowest level beginner employees to literally fucking attack their customers for not wearing a mask or not complying with no training. All right. And from a business standpoint, you guys who own businesses, which that's the core of this show. The core of this show is business owners. You guys don't even understand that you've already wrecked your business. You just haven't seen it yet because those people that you harassed that did and educated themselves on the data, like myself and lots of others like me. In fact, remember what I said about Arizona, 300-1. There's a lot of people who are just wearing the mask that know it's bullshit because they don't want you to fucking harass them. Those people that you harassed, that you empowered your $10, $12 an hour entry-level people to harass, guess what, motherfuckers? They're not coming back to your business. And you've ruined and cut your own throat, and that's going to come back to bite a lot of you guys in the ass. And a lot of these big companies, yeah, they'll probably survive. But I can tell you right now, dude, I'm going to be looking for other alternatives for the rest of my life.
They're going to survive because they were never impacted.
Right.
They closed everything else and let them open. Right.
Let them stay. Vaccine.
What about it?
So, there's only two types of people in the world. There's fucking vaccine advocates and people who don't want to fucking get vaccine.
That's not true. I don't have a problem with any vaccines. I have a problem with this vaccine.
No, I'm sorry.
That's not true at all.
The COVID vaccine.
You're making it polarized. And that's the problem here. There is not two kinds of people with vaccines. There's a fuck ton of people. There's lots of people who believe that vaccines for certain things are okay. I'm one of them. There's a lot of people that believe that vaccines for anything is terrible. There's a lot of people that are okay with some vaccines and know that this is bullshit. And there's a lot of people who are willing to take fucking anything the government tells them. So there's actually 4 groups of people, not 2. And it's important to recognize that because every time I speak out about the vaccine of COVID, I get this fucking pushback. You're this crazy anti-vaxxer. No, I'm not at all. There's just no fucking science behind it. And it's weird because you're willing to shut your whole life off when there's no science to show it. And then you're willing to take a drug that has no fucking science behind it at like, to me, dude, it's almost like I just want to sit back and just like, all right, this is fucking Darwinism at work, dude.
What's a lot of people that are just desperate? Like, I mean, Sal, you talk about it a lot of times too. It's like, it's the people who think they can just put this waist trainer on, they're automatically going to get skinny.
Oh, well, that goes
let me
back
just shoot something in my arm.
That's right.
I'll be healthy. Like, no, go to the gym.
Doc's saying, hey, get healthy. But, and I'm thinking, yeah, but like I'm thinking in their head, well, yeah, that's hard. Like it's easier to just take a fucking shot.
It's super quick.
Bro, there ain't a shot in this fucking plant that's going to make you healthy.
Well, I think Andy's exactly right on point with the fact that it's easy to hate something or love it and make it just a polar opposite thing. And, life isn't that simple, right? So anytime you're going to get a vaccine or a medicine, regardless, you have to weigh the benefits to you or the risks, with getting that treatment. And even though the risks of the vaccine are low, the fact is that if you are otherwise healthy, right, and you don't have any other comorbidities, and you're less, younger than 60 years old, right? Where's the data to show that you're somehow going to be healthier with a vaccine? Because that group of people, if you're not old, have multiple comorbidities, serious comorbidities, it's a cold virus actually. And so, it's just more, a lot of misinformation about this, right? Because people think you're either an anti-vaxxer or you just want to get vaccinated against everything because, you're neurotic. But it's in between. You have to look at each thing. So, you have to decide for yourself, do the benefits outweigh the risks of any treatment you're going to have? And vaccines included in that. In fact, when the FDA was trying to approve the emergency approval for the vaccine, what you didn't hear on the news, but you can look it up pretty easily. There are a couple of people. Now, this group they approve every vaccine. But there was a couple scientists that didn't want to approve it for a certain age group, which was like 15 to 20-year-olds, because they literally looked at that and was like, nobody gets sick from this if they're that age with no medical problems. Where's the justification to inject an otherwise healthy person? Right? Show us why are we injecting someone for a cold virus that doesn't do anything to them? And there really wasn't. But so it got pushed through against their objections. But it's important to know that you got to think along those lines. Like Andy was saying, common sense, right? You're not going to get every vaccine that every pharma company comes out with, because for you, it may not mean much. Why would you get the vaccine? Just because, it's out doesn't mean you have to get it. You got to look at each thing and decide.
Well, I mean, not only that, and correct me if I'm wrong too, like if you've already had the COVID, if you already had it, what about the antibodies? Is the vaccine even necessary if I've already had it?
Well, Big Pharma wants to tell you it is.
Yeah.
But there's no studies showing that. They don't know how long the antibodies last for and all that, but they'd love for you to believe it's, less than 4 months.
Right.
Because, this will be added to the yearly vaccine list for everyone.
How do they come up with the 90 days?
I'll tell you how. They fucking decided that if we make 3 shots over 90 days, we can make 3 times much money.
No, I mean 90 days of the antibodies. They say, hey,
I'm answering your question. That's how they figure. They don't give a fuck about the data, bro. This is about money. This is about, hey, we can give them 3 shots or 2 shots and make 3 times as much money. This whole thing, you guys have to understand. This is not about health. Stop thinking this is about health. They do not have your best interests in mind. The idea that you're building this thought on top of this idea that these people are good people, and they're fucking not. These people want you sick, they want you dependent on them, and they want that fucking power. And dude, that's why they closed all the small businesses but kept the big businesses open. That's why the pharma vaccines or the pharma companies are going to make hundreds of billions of dollars, including Bill Gates. Bill Gates will make more money from this than he made ever in his life doing anything else. From this fucking thing. These dudes are all friends. There's 10 of them. There's fucking, how many people in this room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 of them. How hard would it be for us to get in a fucking room and say, hey, you do this, you do that, you do this, and we'll all be fucking rich? That's what's happening. And dude, any other thought outside of that is fucking incorrect. 100%. And you guys fucking think I'm crazy? I'm not crazy. I'm a smart motherfucker. That's why I'm where I'm at. This is not about health. And all of you listening right now, when you argue this shit, you're arguing it from the place of they want us to be healthy, which they don't. And I know that's a hard thing for everybody to believe. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's true. And the evidence is there. And whether you figure it out now or you figure it out a year from now, which I hope you figured out now, you should have figured out a year ago, but it's still going to be true. This is about money. This is not about fucking health, bro. If it was about health, they'd be saying, hey, we need everybody to fucking take this vitamin. We need everybody to go outside and walk fucking 45 minutes a day. We need everybody to go to the gym. We need everybody to drink a gallon of water. We need you to fucking do these things. And they would say that. Listen, they would be saying that on the fucking, they would be sending out Amber Alerts that said, hey, do that. That's what they would do. This is not about fucking health at all. And to predicate the argument on that point is just, you're everything built off of that point. It's like building a house on a fucking foundation that cannot be solid. You see what I'm saying?
You're not selling me. Fuck, I get it. I'm just trying to give some objective opinion and understanding like, hey man, like,
yeah, but
how do you argue somebody, since we're talking about the COVID vaccine, are you going to get the COVID vaccine?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not afraid of what happens to me if COVID lands on me. There's no data to support I should be afraid. Literally none. So I'm not worried about it. And asymptomatic spread is next to nil. And that's what the studies keep showing. So obviously, if I didn't feel right, I would stay home. I wouldn't go out and be around people that were, risk of getting, COVID sick. But I mean, but otherwise, asymptomatic spread is essentially non-existent. In fact, if you think it is a problem, then when you get a vaccine, remember the vaccine doesn't stop you from getting COVID in your body. It just primes your immune system. The goal is for it to prime your immune system so it attacks it faster. Now that you have to wait 10 days for the antibodies to build up and potentially go downhill during that time. But the virus still goes into your body. You're still carrying it asymptomatically. You're the same as somebody who didn't get a vaccine. The one who didn't in the same place with asymptomatic spread. So there's no studies to suggest otherwise. So I mean, I don't buy the argument about it. I think that if you're a high risk patient, high risk individual, then you have something to think about with the vaccine. But an otherwise healthy person, where's the upside? I don't get it. In fact, You've seen a lot of people get sick after the vaccine for like a week.
Dude,
so
there's been 1,000 deaths. 1,000 deaths. Okay. Now let's just think about this. This is a good discussion. Let's just say that we are correct. Okay. And there's been, and what the CDC provides us with data is the 6% actual death rate, right? The people who have died from COVID, there's actually only 6% of that 500,000. Okay. What's 6% of 500,000? 15,000, right? So we have is that right? No, that's not right. 30,000. So we have 30,000 people who have died from COVID, apparently. That's what their data they're giving us. They just started with vaccines and already 1,000 people have died of COVID or of the vaccine. I mean, that doesn't add up. Like when they vaccinate everybody, there's a good likelihood that the deaths from the vaccine will match the deaths from actual COVID. It's statistically possible.
Well, I think the struggle lies that you just start looking at the 30,000 number, right? 30,000 people die of COVID.
Well, dude, if you go back to H1N1, that's about what it was.
I'm going to tell you, I've had H1N1 and it was a motherfucker. I lived. But when I go back to like the real problem, the root of the problem, obesity, that's how we are essentially a battle against obesity company. That's the truth. That's what First Form does. We help people change their lives through losing weight. That's our entire company. And what I find like it's extremely disheartening, whether it's our government, society in general, 300,000 people die every year of obesity, and we don't have any urgency to fix that issue in any way, shape, or form. 10 times the amount of people every year, and it's every fucking year
because they don't care.
No, I understand that,
yeah.
But my point is supporting your point. It's like, no, but you have to objectively like sit back and say, okay, let's look at this. If obesity is the cause here, and obesity is a huge motherfucking problem, we don't seem to address it when it's here. But when you get $30,000 extra for every case that comes to the hospital, well, we're going to tag this motherfucker as COVID. You know, there's 1 and 1 is not 2 in any way, shape, or form. No matter how you fucking.
It's racist if it is.
That's right. 2 plus 2 equals fucking 5 now.
Yeah. Go back to my math teachers, be like, fuck you.
Yeah. I passed.
Yeah.
But even in a typical year, right? How many deaths are attributed to the flu? What, 40,000?
Yeah, 50 in a big year, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, you got to keep perspective in mind here. And most of those that died also probably labeled with the flu, but had multiple other comorbidities because normal, healthy, otherwise people do not usually die from the flu. We can all attest to that, right? But we still have 40,000 deaths. That's a group of people who had other medical issues for sure. So it's just something to keep in mind because they're calling it COVID deaths and it's really...
Dude, it just makes me angry.
Yeah,
it does.
Like I just get so mad thinking about how
they duped everybody.
Bro, they stole a fucking year of our lives. And like you keep going back to the kids. What are the kids going to be like in 20 years from this? What are they going to be like in 10 years?
Well, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, Doc, but I mean, we see how socially awkward kids are in this generation just because of these phones, right? Can you only imagine? Alex, so my fiance, we have a 5-month-old child. And we were just talking about this. We're like, what about all these these toddlers and stuff that, during their ages of development, facial recognition is a very, very important cognitive part of their development, right? They have to be able to read social cues. If everybody's freaking masked, you're not even going to see that, right? So I mean, I think it's going to be absolutely terrible what Ryan's generation, even Enzo and the twins, like what is their generation going to look like in a couple of years? I think it's going to be absolutely terrible.
If you tolerate it.
Yeah, I will say this though. There is neuroplasticity. I think that I'm optimistic. I think that things will move forward and I'm hoping and I'm optimistic that things will be okay. But there are a lot of things that got missed during this year and some of them are pretty awful. Like I said, domestic abuse, drug overdoses, child abuse. Listen, half the people missed their cancer screenings.
Bro.
Right? That cancer didn't go away. It's going to get detected now at a later stage and those people are going to have a harder time. And so, I mean,
dude, we know someone like that. Like we have a First Form Legionnaire who missed her cancer screening because of COVID and then was diagnosed with fucking terminal cancer.
Stage 4.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly
the fast, aggressive pace.
Two of my very best friends lost their dads this year and neither one of them got to see them when they passed. Neither one of them got to have a fucking funeral. I mean, dude, I'm getting like goosebumps. It pisses me off so fucking bad. And dude, and people are like, oh, well, it's the government. No, it's not the government, bro. It's the people going along with it and not taking the responsibility to educate themselves on what's actually happening. Like, it's you motherfuckers. That's the truth. And like, dude, it makes me, and dude, if that makes you mad, I'm sorry. It's the fucking truth. The more we go along with it, the more this shit is allowed to happen. And it's disgusting, man. It just makes me so, and I know you feel the same because I've been loving your content.
No, I mean, and listen, like Ian Smith, right?
Great buddy of mine.
Look at what he's been doing. I mean, you guys familiar? I know you.
He's one of my best friends, dude.
All right, okay. So
we have part 2. It's right out here.
Okay, all right.
We have our own social experiment that's been going on for the last year.
I mean, look at the pressure that they're putting on them, and they don't back down. And I mean, you look to them for maybe some strength in following your belief systems, because they took all his money out of his bank account. He's still going. Yeah. Cryptocurrency now. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you're right. I think if enough people step up, then other people will join. I think it's that first group that steps up to say, like, I'm not going to wear the mask anymore.
Well, dude, it's weird too, because like you see, it's just these people who are the pro lockdown, pro mask, pro this. It's a politicized thing for them. They're doing it based upon what they believe politically, not what the actual data says. And dude, if you really look at it, I think that thing that I said about seeing what I saw in Arizona, where most of the people took the mask off, it shows you the actual percentage of the quote unquote Karens that are making a huge deal. It's very small, very loud group of people. And bro, we just got to get comfortable telling those people to eat shit.
Well, and I think
that's the truth.
So Andrew, we didn't stay at the same hotel, right? The hotel we stayed at was booked. So we were at a different hotel. We would go to the pool. There's about approximately 250, 300 people. It's only one family had a mask on. So like there's a total different support system that would literally give you the exact same anecdotal evidence, that's logical look around.
Yeah, and it's social pressure, right? Nobody wants to be the odd duck. And what's going to happen, like what you just said, Doc, was that, now in Arizona, that family that's wearing a mask, they're going to feel stupid. And eventually they're going to be like, they're going to have a conversation at home like, hey, honey, I think we got duped. And they're just not going to wear this shit anymore.
It's completely flipped. There used to be 300 people wearing a mask and one not.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like the perception of social pressure to wear a mask is actually not existent. Yeah. It's a perception that they've created by mandating and businesses making it's all a fucking huge thing. Yeah. Like together. Like when Walmart and Target and all these companies say you can't fucking eat here, I can't come here and shop without a mask, and they shut down everything else, what do you have to do? Right. You got to fucking wear one. Okay? So they've created this perception that everybody's on board. Dude, I'm telling you, these motherfuckers this is a plan. And I do believe that this will come out, and I do believe these people will be held accountable. I just think it's going to take a minute.
Yeah, what's your take on that, Doc? Like, what do you think the repercussions are for these people in power that have been pushing this, that are clearly responsible for a lot of hurt in our country right now? Like, I mean, what 2 questions. What would you like to see happen, and what do you think is going to happen?
I think they should be held accountable. I mean, they cause untold amounts of suffering on the population. Yeah. I think history will prove, will look down upon this time in our lives, and see it for what it is. Right now, people are still in the midst of it, so they're not getting the perspective of time. But they should be held accountable. I wish I was optimistic that would happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's too many people that are career politicians, the swamp, and they want to keep, and they're going to all fight to defend that. And I don't think it's going to, I'm not a politician, it's not my area of expertise, but I will say that I just don't see them all going down for it.
Yeah. See, I think that sometimes, and then sometimes I don't. Like, I go back and forth on that. I am, and sometimes I let my hopefulness maybe get out in front of me on it. But there's definitely no evidence of them being held accountable. But I do see guys like Cawthorn and Ted Cruz and these other guys like standing up and saying, hey, this is fucking wrong, But dude, it's a year late, man. Like, we're not getting that year back.
Nor are we getting those lives back.
Nor are we getting the businesses back. Bro, like, dude, Portnoy just raised fucking $40 million for businesses? Bro, $40 million doesn't mean shit compared to the damage that was done. I mean, dude, look, I like Dave. He's fucking awesome. I fucking love what he did. But bro, a lot more has to be done. You know what I'm saying? And I got a little idea that I'm going to hit him with about how to keep that fund going. But the point is like, I don't know, because I do see guys in government who are elected, who do know it's wrong, saying shit. So,
well, look at Florida and DeSantis. He's
dude,
always,
I love that guy.
yeah, absolutely.
Fucking makes me want to move to Florida.
Yeah. Well,
I
everyone is
am
moving
buying
to
a house in
Florida.
Florida because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, home prices have skyrocketed in Florida right now because people are running there.
Almost
Why
double.
not? Yeah, right.
In certain areas in Southern.
No, I mean, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you see situations like in Cuomo, like you said. I mean, I see both sides, right? So, like, you see what happened with Cuomo, right? So it all came out that the nursing home crisis that he did, right? That he intentionally did.
It started to come out.
And
then what happened?
But then they protected him.
They didn't protect him, bro.
Indirectly.
They fucking came up with this sexual harassment
Yeah.
shit to make the storyline that instead of what he actually did.
They put the spotlight on over
Bro,
here. Hey,
because-
look here.
Yeah, because see, and this is where I think it might crack and crumble is with Como, because they're going to punish him, and I think he's liable to fucking say
Gonna
this is
squeal.
actually what happened. And I don't know if he will or he won't. They probably cut some deal like, hey, dude, you had to eat this sexual harassment, but we'll fucking we'll leave you alone on this shit. I don't know, but I mean, dude, that's how my brain perceives the events happening right now, is that this whole sexual misconduct thing is a cover for the actual crack that's happened in the narrative. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how my brain sees it.
What are your thoughts on, just out of curiosity, when you start talking about all the other diseases, mental health, child abuse, suicide, right?
It's very awful. Awful.
It's awful. I mean,
awful.
Dude, listen, I don't really suffer from anxiety in the grand scheme of life. I just never had, and this year I developed it where it's like, and I'm not.
No, and that goes back to Zoloft being on the shortage list of drugs.
Yeah,
and because people who you weren't diagnosed before, but you might go to your doctor now and say something, and now he's going to give you a prescription. That's likely what would happen.
It's crazy though, man. Like because of that mental stress that comes with it. And so I'm just curious, and I know this is time will tell, but what do you think is bigger, the 1 year lost or the loss that's getting ready to come because of the mental disorders or suicide rate that's going to come from people losing their businesses and relationships and divorce and kids?
Well, it's all of it, right? It's not easy to say this stops here on the timeline and this begins. It's all meshed together. Suicides have gone up tremendously. It's already done. Like, those lives aren't coming back. So that's already done. The lack of structure in the day, the kids not going to school. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? How long can people survive like that without structure, without meetings, without going to temple or church, without being able to work out at the gym? But human beings thrive on structure, right? You guys, of course, know that. So it's too late already, right? We're a year into this. So the sooner they need to open things up a long time ago. So now we just hope that it happens as soon as possible. The states are piling up that are starting to open things up.
Yeah, it's starting.
Hopefully it'll be like dominoes.
Momentum.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. Dude, I would like to chime in on that point, Sal, because I do suffer from those things. I have severe anxiety. I've had severe depression for the last 20 fucking years, on and off. And you don't know this about me, but it's something I talk about on the show pretty consistently. A lot of who I am, I've leveraged from that. So it's been something that I've learned how to make work for me, not against me. But I do want to say that I think I can relate to that point because, dude, you guys can all attest. I didn't go anywhere the whole time for a year. I mean, I went, 2 places in a year besides work. I went to Billy G's and I went to Twisted Tree. Okay. So I was about as confined as, I don't know, most people, maybe some people in San Francisco and New York were worse, but I stayed out of it because I can't tolerate the stupidity in public. So I didn't want to go out and argue with people every day. So I fucking did it to myself, and that's fine. I was willing to do it. But I will say that this weekend we went to Arizona, right? They took the mask off, like we said, and fucking people were normal. Bro, I felt 1,000,000% better. And that's a point that no one's discussed. No one's discussed how much we need the normal interaction, and we need the normal things of like being around people in public or going to a park and seeing people act normal, say hi, hello. Like, dude, that was the first time I've had anybody say hi to me. Like, when they walk by with a mask, no one says shit. But when everybody's normal, it was like, it was just like it was before. wasn't it?
Yeah.
And dude, it felt good. Like it made my heart feel good. And like, I think that the best thing we could do, and dude, you're the expert, but the best thing that we could do for people right now is to seriously open shit back up and let them be normal.
Absolutely. The government can't do anything to fix the problem except get their boot off the necks of the American people.
Right.
And then we'll fix it.
Dude, I didn't realize, like, because I identify sort of as like a fucking, almost like a hermit. Like I'm a very introverted dude, contrary to like what I do on the show. This is like therapy for me, right? But normally, dude, I don't go around people. I'm not a social dude. So you pile that on top of the shit that went down, and bro, it puts you in a dark fucking spot pretty quick. And I actually think that this whole thing is going to be a super positive experience for me. Because it made me realize how much I do actually enjoy being around people.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's good to see you motherfuckers. Like,
Well, I think that's a cool part about really, the show, our culture, and in general. And Doc, I don't know how much you know about our business or what we do, but we just said, hey man, we're going to go over here and we're going to be here Saturday morning at 8:00. If you want to come, we're going to be outside. We're going to go for a hike. We had a couple hundred people show up, and it was the enjoyment. I mean, talking about people flew from Boston and Florida and Oregon just to get outside and be fucking normal.
bro, it felt good.
It felt really good.
Yeah.
And you're at the top, like we're at the
The
top.
hike sucked. I'll be honest.
Oh, that's
the
'cause you're a
hikes-
bitch.
Yeah, that's fine.
Got to the top of this
I was a
iconic
sore
fucking
bitch.
view.
It was
I'm
You're-
fucking
bitch, I'm bitch too.
No, but we got to the top of this iconic view, and you're with people like-minded. You just went through a physical experience. Like it's really what life is about.
No, it was
And I
beautiful.
think I think this is going to teach, like, let's, we talk about the good, a little bit of a good here. I think people from now on are going to appreciate their fucking freedom when they get it back. I think people are going to appreciate their family and their friends and normal things that maybe we took for granted,
Even kids in middle school, since when do they ever want to go back to school? They're dying to go back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, my one of our friends here, Jessa Hinton, she's a first form athlete influencer. Her son's 12 years old, and dude, he stayed in an apartment for a fucking year. And she calls me up one day and she's like, "Hey, can I bring Kyler out and just to hang out with the guys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it was awesome." He came out here, and this dude played basketball for 12 fucking hours straight, like 12 hours straight.
We're
And
grown men.
like, yeah.
Just to get out.
yeah. And this little 12-year-old dude who's super cool, and he's out there with the guys, dude. I'm like,
Hours.
dude, I worked out twice. I fucking like
Still out there.
and I'm like, "Where's Kyler?" And they're like, I look over, I'm like, "Dude, he's gonna be dead tomorrow."
Yeah.
Dude.
He
Like,
was sore.
yeah, but I
He
mean,
was
it
DJ
just
Climb Camelback sore.
yeah. But it just shows you, dude, like, we need that stuff. We need human
It's
interaction.
necessary.
Yeah, and it hasn't been talked about at all. Like I saw a magazine cover yesterday. I think Ian posted it actually. Did you guys see that magazine cover where it was like some people sitting at a table toasting wine, and then it had people up on the window with masks on talking about vaccine envy. Like they're trying to propagate the fucking vaccine envy. Like they're trying to make people want it.
Like FOMO for a vaccine.
Yes. Like
Which is the most ridiculous thing.
it's insane. And dude, it's just straight like mind fuck marketing.
Yeah.
Like, as a business guy, I can identify marketing, like it's just crazy, dude. I don't know.
If you could, I'm curious because it's great for us because we have our opinion. We're an opinion-based show.
Well, just one other quick statement. The rehab that I'm the director for, it's overflowing right now, overflowing with people because of mental health and addiction. And we do telemedicine where we can go, help people without them having to come in. So we see a lot of people out of state because they allow that now without you having to be licensed in the other state because as part of COVID. So we see a lot of people out of state, and they're overflowing. I think they're going to wind up opening more centers because of the lockdowns. That's it. Not because of the virus. It's the lockdowns. Lockdowns did way more than the virus ever could in terms of hurting people. It's not even close.
If you could diary dump in your head, what would you say? Like, what do you from a political standpoint, from a medical standpoint, from just and this is not a political statement. I'm just more curious. Like, I know because we get identified as far right from the people. If you're on any side of the left, not really. I guess that's not true. If you're on the far left,
no, you either got to be the far 5% loud, obnoxious fucking left, or you're far right.
correct.
Yeah.
And I would say we get called the far right by those people. I'm just curious from your opinion. What do you think went down over the last 365 days?
Well, like when we opened up before and initially in the show, it was completely a political power grab. They saw that they had one goal in mind in the beginning, which is clearly not to get Trump reelected. And, that was one thing in mind. And then they just sort of kept swerving the narrative to make people scared. And now they're making people more scared by pulling this stuff about different strains from different places. Now they're going to try to use that potentially to keep people, oh, no, we can't open up yet. There's this strain in New Jersey, some nonsense like that. I still think, unfortunately, that they put so much fear into the general population that I still think that most people are blinded. I really do. I mean, still,
I do as well.
A large degree of the population is still blinded and misinformed. And I think that's the problem, is that it's very hard to get the people to, listen,
it's hard to overcome your own ego. Dude, when you buy into something psychologically as truth, it's very hard to convince you that it's not truth after you've bought into it as truth. Well, because what happens is...
Because it's your team then.
Yes. You have to you have to have a conversation with yourself that says, all right, I was fucking wrong. And nobody likes to have that conversation. This is the same... Dude, we talk a lot about success on the show, right? This is the same conversation we talk about in business, dude. Like when you make a wrong move, you can't just keep pretending it was right. You're going to lose. Like you got to be able to say, hey, Sal, shouldn't have done that fucking shit.
Well, But the truth is, that's where all the strength comes from. This is, that's what's the irony inside. I mean, the reason I keep going back to your opinion because, I have friends who are medical professionals, right? And then you start pointing out these facts, and sometimes because you're not Harvard educated or Yale educated or have that credentials.
Because that's low hanging fruit to try to kill your idea. That's why.
Trust me, I'm trying to argue.
They're trying to erase. No, but that's the point, right? They could just try to chop you down by saying something about your degree, not the facts that you're presenting to them. And I think so. But go ahead.
No. I'm just extremely. So I'm a doctor, right? We're both doctors, and I say, hey, listen, you know what? I'm an epidemiology major. I think you're a conspiracy theorist. How would you combat that?
Well, first I'd ask why. Why do you think I'm a conspiracy theorist?
Well, I would say, so you're saying that COVID doesn't exist or what the government did is totally outrageous. But I think that it is. I'm going to get the vaccine. I'm going to live by the standards. I'm going to lock my house down. I'm going to lock my business down. You're crazy. I'm not.
Well, first of all, if it's a free country, I mean, it should be. So if you want to do that and stay home and isolate and wear masks, go ahead, but you can't force everybody else to do it just because you think it's the right thing to do.
Well, that's the problem. Ultimately,
it's the virtue signaling.
Yes,
it's all that. So but to your point, you're sort of asking me what debate points to have when you're arguing with someone. I guess
no, I'm just logically looking through this. Okay,
I mean, if they're calling conspiracy theorists, they have to come up with some information as to why they're even saying that. They don't have to, but I mean, if you're engaging, I'm assuming you're engaging in a semi-intellectual debate with somebody. So if that's the case, then why would they say that? Because I don't even know one point we talked about on the show that is not a fact.
That founded in fact.
I don't know what did we discuss that you think would put you into the conspiracy category today in the show? I don't know about previous shows you guys have done, but in this show, there's nothing that came up.
We've talked about this a lot.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't know where is the conspiracy piece here? I mean, what fact looks like to be to follow that would make you a conspiracy theorist? Do you have one in mind? Or
no? I mean, because in my experience, you're saying COVID's not fake. No, we're not saying COVID's fake. We're saying that it's not as impactful as
exactly
maybe they want you to believe. And it's the constant argument around the fact of, well, you should be vaccinated. Well, wait, I don't want to get vaccinated. I think that I'm fucking healthy. I've been out moving the whole time. I haven't fucking stopped. Well, you're putting everybody else in danger. And it's like, well, what
not if you're fucking vaccinated, bitch.
Yeah, well, but then we got to all wear masks. So what's the point of getting vaccinated?
None of it makes sense. That's the point.
And that's my whole problem is I'm constantly in this cycle.
Let's back it up a second. This is a free country, right? This is not like communist Russia, right? You don't have to get vaccines because other people want you to, right? You're entitled to not get that vaccine. Now, certain states may say, hey, listen, you can't go to the public school district if you don't do that, but you still have the right, then you can stay home. But you have the right to, you don't have to get vaccinated because somebody else thinks it's in their best interest. I mean, come on, you're a healthy person. You don't have to inject things into your body, to protect.
The ultimate problem here, dude, is that people can't have basic confrontation discussions with anybody. Like a lot of you guys out there, you're just complying because you're too pussy to fucking say anything to anybody. That's the truth. You don't want you can't confront a 17-year-old fucking person that says, hey, wear a mask, sir. and you can't say no, like, dude, that's probably indicative of why you can't get anything done your whole life. Just being real. Like, that's not a hard thing to do. It's very easy. We as society have lost the ability to communicate in an effective way, especially in a way that might be a little bit uncomfortable. And, you know, like, I don't have a problem telling no. Like,
Yeah.
like, no, no. Like,
Want me to
it's
spell that
really
for you?
fucking,
Yeah.
it's really simple. And like, you keep moving.
Yeah.
You know, you don't got to sit there and have a debate. It's no and move.
How would you answer the question? And all right, if it was about the presidential debate or the presidential election, well, Biden's elected. How come we're still coming up with new strands? How come
Yeah. I mean, look, look, I'm not a politician, right? So this is just my opinion, not based
Of
on
course.
any science here. But I think that probably initially there was a tremendous push because look, hospitalizations and death rates were already plummeting before Trump was going to be elected. But CNN, they're still scrolling the case counts when they know that's not the number that matters. It's the hospitalizations and deaths from COVID that actually matters as a clinical importance, significant study. So, you know, I think that at first it was probably heavily the election, right? To think that it's not influenced by that is, I think, a bit naive. And then after that, now there's still swampy interest, I think, are going on right now with big pharma and other things right now. I'm telling you, things are going to get better. CNN pulled the counts down when Biden got elected. They don't do it anymore. And I think that you're going to start to see things open up, and they'll let their foot off the gas on these restrictions now because it's not like the presidential election's up for grabs right now. So I think you're going to see things get better. I really do, because they don't have to worry about Trump getting elected. But but it's a debriefing period, is what I'm saying. I don't think they can just say, "Hey guys, everything's cool tomorrow," because they know what they did to the people already.
Right. It kind of makes them look more guilty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like, they're going to do it in a way, I think, where it gives people an out not to wear the mask and still think that they were right the whole time. Like,
dude, I agree with that.
Yeah. Because now, I mean, we saw it, a week or two ago. Now there's this, you're a COVID survivor.
oh,
COVID survivor.
We survived COVID, man. I'm so proud of us.
I've been seeing that on fucking Instagram.
Jesus Christ.
I'm a COVID survivor. Dude,
Yeah.
can we fucking get over this victim shit?
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
motherfucker, you had a fucking cold.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah.
I survived brushing my teeth this morning. Like, where are we going with this?
Another thing that I absolutely hate is when you're scrolling on IG and you'll see a person, they take a picture with their mask on.
I won't like it.
But but here's the
I don't
thing.
either.
But then you swipe, because you got multiple posts, right? You swipe and they're in the same fucking spot without the mask on.
But it's also, they glorify getting the vaccine, right? All the photos of them getting the shots in their arms, the doctors.
Dude, bro, they're
I don't
giving
get it.
stickers like they voted.
Yeah.
Like, I got vaccinated today. I'm like, well, you're a fucking idiot.
Nobody I don't.
Bro, you have to be fucking stupid. Like, I'm just being real. Like, how do you take some drugs that some dude manufactured in fucking 6 months that there's been no studies on at all? Like, dude.
Well, I mean, in fairness to that, they sell a lot of meth.
Huh?
They make a lot of meth. It's
Oh,
a man-made
yeah.
drug. I mean, if fucking
You lost me on that one at first.
supply demand.
What?
Not a lot of studies on it.
look.
Nobody really knows the dosage that goes in. It's made in a fucking stove in the back of a trailer
Newborn
park.
babies
Health.
immune systems are barraged now by the schedule of vaccinations at such an early age. They are barraged by vaccines right now. And it's just the number keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And, that's a newborn immune system that really hasn't gotten a chance to develop at all. And so it's I think we got to be very cautious about how easily that big pharma just keep adding things to the curriculum of vaccines to an otherwise healthy person. In fact, in babies, they vaccinate them for hepatitis, which you can only get from blood, from sex or from IV needles, right? So why does a baby have to get that when they're born? And I think that each person should be looking at each condition and the vaccine and decide what's my risk if I get this thing that I'm getting vaccinated against versus what's the point here? We have, so many people are getting vaccinated and they're out for a week because they don't feel good because they basically get like a mild upper respiratory infection or a mild cold or a mild flu type illness. And there are people who get it and don't even have 2-3 days worth of symptoms. I see them all the time. In fact, half the people I see are young adolescents and they only knew they were positive because they were traveling and they had to get tested. They were all asymptomatic. So, you got to keep that in mind when you're weighing benefit versus risk, which is why I don't want the vaccine because I'm just not convinced that why do I need it?
Well, I think it comes back to just taking that personal responsibility and accountability for your own health, right? Like, I mean, nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is responsible for it. You have to do that. You have to go look into that stuff.
Well, I mean, think about the image, right? You have someone who's obese, diabetic, hypertensive, hyperlipidemia, and they're sitting there and we're, you're isolating them, putting a mask on and giving them a vaccine. Do you think they're making them healthy? Of course not. Of course not. So, but that's what they want to propagate here, is that outside in health. Like, you don't have to do anything. Just sit there. Victim mentality. We'll inject you. We'll put a mask on your head and we'll lock you at home. And where's the health? That's not healthcare.
No.
It's
well, I said it a couple of days ago. I made a post. I said, I guarantee you that if the CDC came out and said that everybody needs to take a condom and put it on top of their head, the majority of people would fucking do it.
Fuck, they say that about sex and they don't do it there. There's a lot of people that should have wore it.
Well, I mean, Sal, it's for our health.
But if they fucking told everybody that you got COVID from having sex, everybody wear a condom.
Maybe that's what they should try.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd all be like, oh, fuck.
If they said green masks were better than blue masks, people would wear
No doubt
green
about
masks.
it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Dude, that's all you would see.
Yeah, that's it.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, and then they'd be shaming you because you had a blue mask on.
That was last week,
you
bro.
stupid motherfucker.
Yeah.
You're
killing us.
Is there
Grandma
anybody
killing?
that the vaccine would benefit? Or that, who
Well,
would
I
benefit?
think there's a case to be made that if you're in a high risk group and you're obese and have other comorbidities, then I think there's a case to be made that, listen, yeah, you should change your entire lifestyle, but in the meanwhile, let me give you some antibodies so this way, if you do get sick, well, listen, that's the case to be made for the flu shot in some populations, right? But I don't get the flu shot every year because I'm just not afraid of the flu. Again, half the people get a low grade malaise type of syndrome anyway. So and then still get the flu on top of that because they always get the strains wrong. So the flu shot at best is like 20% effective. Literally, I don't think many people know that. It's like 20% effective. So no, I don't want it, right? And the government can make any narrative they want to keep people in fear to get the vaccine. But if you use some common sense, just take a look. What's your risk if you get influenza or if you get COVID? Nothing's going to happen.
And that's the thing. Like, you talk about obese people, right? Like, taking this vaccine. Okay, cool. That's a short-term fix. But what about COVID-20 when that comes out? Or what about the next thing? Like that's a short temporary fix to a bigger issue. Get healthy.
What's the adverse reaction rate on these vaccines?
It depends on what you call an adverse reaction. Like,
No, like severe, like you're getting fucked up. Like, I know, like, if you get the vaccine, you're likely to get a little sick or whatever. I get that. But what I'm saying is like,
yeah, I mean,
really
I think it's like, I think the studies they're preliminary, really, right? They don't have a lot of data, but I think it's like, it's below 10%.
Oh, really? That's not as bad as I thought it was. I thought it was like 40%.
You could pull it up, but I think it's somewhere in that range.
I don't think it's even been enough time yet.
But again, there's soreness at the injection site, and then there's like anaphylaxis. Like, you got to look at what you're saying is
do you think Fauci took the vaccine? Fauci? Did you see the video?
I actually think that I actually think that he's probably believes the stuff he does.
You think so?
What do you think about what he does?
I mean, look, the problem is if you take epidemiologists they have such like myopic vision. They only see one thing, like case counts, numbers, stats. They don't look at the big picture where you have to balance, people being isolated, overdoses, all the things that are going wrong with kids not being in school. They're not looking at anything to balance it. They're just looking at, they would keep people locked in their homes for the next 40 years.
That's right.
If it was just up to Fauci and their cronies, that's it. Because that's how they see the world. It's like they're just so myopic. They just see germs and like everyone should stay home. But that's not real life.
And dude, the other thing too, you can see this when he talks. Like, if you observe him when he talks, doctors have this thing where they, it's like when you go get a scan or something and you ask them and you say, hey, how'd it go? And they're like, we can't fucking tell you. Like, you got to have to wait, blah, 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 blah. Nobody ever wants to say anything that's going to get their ass in the fucking fire. Right. So when there's a chance of somebody actually dying or getting sick, they err so far on the side of safety that the collateral shit is not even a factor in what they say. And you could see that when Fauci talks. Like, he is a fucking book nerd who has been put in a very bad position to be the main source of information and communication, when in reality, what they should have had was what they had in the beginning, where you got 4 or 5 people saying, hey, blah, 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 blah. And then they come to a conclusion, just like you would do in any decision-making process, but like, I mean, fuck, dude, that dude's getting rich too. Let's be real. Like, he's getting fucking paid. Whoever's close to him, go check their bank accounts. It'll be like the Hunter Biden shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's speculation. It's not fact, but it's a fucking pretty good guess, you know? So
I don't. So I'll just look up the vaccine doses right now. And for Missouri, for example, 9.2% of the Missouri population is fully vaccinated. 9.7% of the entire U.S. is fully vaccinated. But 0.90% of the world population is fully vaccinated. I don't really think anybody's going to get vaccinated, bro. I don't see this number going over 15%. What do you think?
I think it will. I think there's just tremendous push to get people vaccinated right now. Tremendous.
What do you think the final number would be? Just a guess. We're not going to hold you to it.
I mean, look, I don't know. It's tough to guess that, but I think you'll be probably close to 20%. Yeah, I think a lot of people are getting vaccinated.
Even 20% in the grand scheme of what they're trying to do is
well, but the thing is
though.
that they never really thought they were going to vaccinate people into complete herd immunity. They were I think partially relying on people's natural exposure and developing antibodies plus the vaccines to get you to that like 75% mark of the herd immunity where we can go back to life as we know it before.
Do you think that's a reality?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen this month. Based on the
it's happening
trends.
fast now.
Yeah, very fast because so many people are getting vaccinated.
Who's the last state to go?
What?
California or New York?
California, New York.
I think right now California is the worst state in the entire country in terms of this stuff.
Oh, I think it was that way before the pandemic.
Oh yeah, no, agreed. Fully agreed.
You ever been there?
Jesus, dude. Yeah, I used to go there every fucking once a
No,
month.
I'm just saying,
dude, I stopped going there because of this shit.
No, I mean California is still I think they're the most locked down state in the union.
Bro, I was in San Francisco when this whole thing hit.
Bro, I love California. Like, dude, you walk down the street, you leave me the fuck alone, don't talk to nobody. Awesome place. But the minute you got to deal with any of this fucking, dude, people there it's just different. It's hard.
Well, they pushed all the other people out.
No, and they're all loud and they're all aggressive and they all fucking hate people like me.
They're like the most extreme.
Yeah.
Especially San Francisco.
Bro. I mean, I was literally.
I tell you another thing too. You could tell that in Missouri, when you were a kid and you did something wrong, you got punched in the fucking face. And when you go in California, you could tell those kids never got fucking punched in the face.
They got put in timeout.
That's right.
You go to timeout. No.
Bro,
you get your ass whooped.
People will just say shit to you, and I'm like, what?
Nah, everyone wants their own safe space in California.
Yeah.
I think everyone wants their own safe space in life right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Dude, when we went to Arizona, it was normal, dude.
I loved Arizona.
I did too, bro.
I love the people.
Wow, you people in Arizona, you're good people. I
pretty
like
cool.
It. Yeah.
I drive. I like Albert. I drive.
Yeah, he was cool.
Within 30 seconds, I'm like, yeah, okay, we're good.
Yeah. He showed up with the mask, and I looked at him, and I'm like, hey, bro, you can wear that if you want, but you don't have to.
He's like,
and he took that shit right off, dude.
Right off, man.
He's like, you're my kind of people. I'm like, yeah, we're cool.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting in the back seat like, can we take this plastic shit down though?
So do you wear a mask in New York City when you walk around?
I don't wear a mask outside ever. And I don't really wear one indoors unless I'm told I have to. So, and I really haven't been in the city. I don't want to, no one wants to even be there. Everything, Cuomo destroyed everything. All the restaurants are gone.
Dude, that's
awful.
so sad.
Very sad.
Dude, New York City, no bullshit. It was my favorite fucking place to go. I love New York City. The energy is there. A lot of people are like, oh, the people they're my kind of people. I like people that are direct. That's the shit that I've been around. Dude, I fucking love New York City. And the fact that, dude, it just makes me so sad. Cause I would go there 2-3 times a year. You know what I'm saying? Now it's dude, I'm not going there because they won't enforce the fucking laws. So you walk down the street, you get fucking shot. Dude, it's like it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Pre-Giuliani.
Yeah, Giuliani cleaned that up.
Just destroyed one of the most beautiful fucking cool ass places on the planet. It'll come back though, dude. New Yorkers are resilient.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's been brutal. Because a lot of the restaurants in New York City, I mean, they went out of business. They couldn't sustain for a year.
Dude, people got to wake up to this political shit. I mean, I know we haven't talked too much politically. We've been talking mainly about the Corona thing, but guys, you're on the wrong fucking team. Dude.
Yeah.
Quit voting for this shit. I was talking to one of our friends, Morgan Dawson, who moved from California to Dallas. She said, when I got in the Uber the first time I got to Dallas, the Uber driver goes, now you know you're Republican now, right?
You ain't bringing that shit.
Yeah, she goes, I laughed, but he was serious.
Do you plan on leaving New York or what are you thinking?
No, I'm probably going to wind up staying put.
You're established there.
I like New York. The city is atrocious.
Yeah.
But like in the suburbs, it's not bad. They let the city go to hell.
Missouri is pretty kind of, I would say it's pretty similar. I mean, like, because we're in the county right now, but the further you get out of the metro populous areas,
The better it is.
You're fine.
Yeah.
But you go downtown, it'd be a little weird.
Yeah, man.
Any parting words? Anything like to share?
I got someone I want to ask, and then we'll get to that. So you're in charge right now. Like Fauci waves his fucking wand and says that you're in charge. What do we do?
You got to open everything up, but you can do it in a sensible way, which means that if you're old or have multiple comorbidities, then you don't have to go out to the crowded stores. But let people get back to life again, because it's been so bad for so long because these lockdowns affecting every segment of life that it just doesn't make any sense to keep society locked down. There's no evidence to support it. They always talk about, left always saying follow the science. The science is just proving everything. Open the schools up. They should have never been closed ever. And open the rest of society up. And if people are high risk can stay home, make sure they get vaccinated, the whole thing. But you open up sensibly and you just stop the nonsense.
100% agree. I got my vote, bro. For real. Dude, Doc, I really appreciate you coming through, man. This is a great conversation. It's nice I feel validated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
you got a blue check.
Well, yeah, I got fucking trashed all year because I'm not a doctor. And so, dude, thank you so much for coming in.
No, it was my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Dude, what's your Instagram handle?
It's my name, Russell Swarovski.
Okay.
MD. That's the name.
So it's RussellSuraskymD.
Yep.
On Instagram. You guys should follow him because he puts out a ton of great content that is the real data of what's going on. Another doctor to follow who's been really good, as I mentioned him before, is Dr. Ben Tapper. You guys know each other, right? Yeah. So I want to get him down here on the show as well. But dude, it's been a great conversation. Totally on the same page. That's not why I picked you, by the way. But dude, thank you for coming in, man. Hopefully we'll get through this soon.
No, it's my pleasure. And I am very optimistic. I'm forward looking. I'm very optimistic. But that doesn't mean you forget about what just happened and that you don't try to learn from it. And so if we just say, oh, well, what's done is done. Now let's move forward now. That's not the right thing to do because they'll be back. The power grab will be back in another form.
Dude, there has to be legislation that keeps this from ever happening again.
Yeah.
It can never happen again. And we the people have to never allow it again. Like you guys who, and we've had some, I love you guys, right? Even if you're buying into this shit. The reason I've been so vocal is because I do love you guys. If I didn't give a fuck, I wouldn't say anything. I would just go about my life. You guys who have bought into this shit, who are going to realize that you got fucked, we have to come together as a whole to never allow this to happen again. Can never happen again. And, you shouldn't feel bad. You shouldn't feel embarrassed. You shouldn't be ashamed because literally every single media outlet, every single person that you were told you should trust, every single news channel you were told you should trust has lied to you. And it's been consistent all year for their own benefit. And we, as American people, cannot allow this to continue to happen to us because it's destroying not only our health, but our sanity, our business, our future, our ability to move forward and progress and enjoy our lives, which is what we do here in America. This is a free country. This is not a country of the small percentage of the population who is extremely loud tells the rest what to do. No, fuck you. The rest of us can do what we want to. And you guys have to get comfortable being that way. And I think if there's anything to learn from this, I think it is, one, we all should appreciate our freedom a lot more than what we have in the past. I think we could all say after this year that maybe we all took it for granted a little bit. I know I did. And it's something that's important to me. So if it's something that you really don't think about, I'm sure you took it for granted. But secondly, guys, this is tyrannical behavior. And if we allow tyrannical behavior to become part of our culture in this country, you're not going to like the way it ends up. And you guys who are arguing about saying, oh, well, I'm right, I'm wrong, or you're wrong, I'm right, I'm this, I'm that, it doesn't fucking matter because we're all going to lose. We're all going to lose. Not just me because I'm going to get sick because I didn't wear a mask like you guys think. No, you're going to fucking lose too because you're not going to be able to have an education. You're not going to be able to have school. Dude, most of the kids that are not most, but a huge percentage of the kids doing these virtual classes, which we didn't even talk about, are failing. You know, like they're not even showing up. The parents have, dude, guys, not everybody has good parents that give a fuck about their kids. Like some of these kids that all they have is their teachers that care. And dude, you teachers who are refusing to go back in the face of all this data, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. I'm being real. You're getting paid. You chose this career. Go do the fucking job. Get over yourself. If you're so smart and you're a teacher, you should understand the data and stop punishing these fucking kids for your want to stay at home and get fucking paid, because that's what it really is. What it really is you don't have to do shit and you get paid for it. And that's fucking wrong. So I could do a whole another thing about that. But anyway, bro, awesome show. Really, really appreciate it. You got anything to say?
I just appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask some questions because
Great
there's
discussion.
Yeah, there's things that we get hammered with on the backside, and it's kind of like, you're right, I'm not a doctor, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. It makes me a bad motherfucker.
It does.
It's annoying.
Yeah, it's just annoying.
And it's validated. It's like it's very refreshing to hear. It's like, all right, because people, can you send me the study that you guys referenced on the CDC and the mask? I'm like, bro, listen, I'm not fucking Google.
No,
like,
Sal, that's the whole problem.
Yeah.
They won't look it up for themselves.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, like I got 3 fucking kids and we're gonna come. I got shit to do. Yes, I read it. I'm not gonna go back and do your homework for you. And I think therein lies the same thing going back to obesity and weight. It's like, hey, you have to go do this work. Like I can't. And unfortunately, because we've created this society of digesting this information that they tell us, like you have to be told what to do. No. Go look for it yourself. Go do the work yourself. It's amazing what's out there when you go see it. It's amazing what this top of Camelback Mountain looks like, isn't it?
Pretty awesome.
But I just want to say thank you for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. It's been great.
You got anything to say?
I'm good.
All right. What is it? Daddy Thumbs?
Daddy Thumbs.
Daddy
baby.
Thumbs says we're good. So
Daddy
we can
thumbs
close
up his
the
ass.
show. All right. All right, guys. That's the show. Special thanks to Dr. Russell. Guys, if you like the show, please share it. Please give Dr. Russell a follow if you're interested in the conversation. He posts awesome content about this consistently. Also, great content about mental health consistently. That is a theme of the show, right? Entrepreneurs suffer from mental health issues at a much higher rate than the rest of the population. So, guys, give him a follow, man. He's great content, doing great things. Appreciate you, brother. And we'll see you guys next time.